Charlie, how you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. How are you?
I am so excited to talk to you. Listen, like I do a website and everything, and I talk to people, but it's always funny because every time I talk to you guys, like I'm just like I'm so excited to talk to you because I really am excited to talk to you.
Oh,
Like, because
thanks.
like you never think like I never thought that I would be talking like I watch you guys and stuff like that. I never thought I'd be talking to you guys, type of thing. So it's really super cool that you took the time out because I know you're going to be traveling and stuff. You're going to Bulgaria, I guess.
Yeah, heading to Bulgaria later. That's how I'm running around. But no, man. But look, you got a cool outlet, and it's a pleasure to be here talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much. So like I said, I'm a super fan. And like I said, I know you do a lot of interviews and you get asked a lot of questions. And of course, I'm going to start with the formulaic question first. Was acting something you always wanted to do, or was it something that just kind of headed on?
I think from a pretty young age, I was involved in drama. I was a really shy kid. My mom put me in theater to kind of help me overcome that, which did work. I really enjoyed that as a kid. Kind of got more into sports throughout youth and into high school. And then when I was about, yeah, since I was about 16, I think I really thought to myself that I really wanted to. I didn't know how, I remember I'll never forget I was watching Pulp Fiction and for the 20th time and uh I just thought to myself, they found a way in there. How did they get in there? And it's got to be somebody. And what are the steps? And it was for a kid in a small town in Missouri, it was a bit of a dream, but I didn't know how to make it a reality. But here we are.
Absolutely. Oh, that's cool. Now, it said you did some modeling too. Like you were a model at one time. Is that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I That kind of came my way, and I was like, okay, this can at least get me out of this town. And that's what got me to New York. That's what got me studying, and that's how I met people, and very quickly moved to LA and started my film career.
Absolutely. Now, of course, you did a lot of TV work when you first started out.
Yes.
You had a big stint on Buffy, which I remember, which was super
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, that was
So,
huge.
yeah. So, talk a little bit about your TV days and like, well, first of all, like, talk about your biggest, like, your first gig, like you that you were like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually doing this type of
Well, I think
gig.
Buffy's probably it. I
Okay.
think the entire time, that happened quick. Um, right when I first moved to LA, I had read for Angel, and Joss really liked me. Angel was just spinning off; it was going to be a brand new show, and when the role of Ben came up, he thought of me. It worked out, and that was, I had did a pilot that didn't go or a tiny part in a movie. And, it was cool. Things were going good. I was really settling into LA, but Buffy was just a different thing. It was a big deal. So that was the first time I couldn't believe I was somewhere.
So, in terms of like television and movies, like tell us the difference, like going from one to the other. What's the similarities and what are the differences in doing both?
I think it kind of depends on the film. Film traditionally a movie can you take your time a little more so, but in this day and age we actually shoot pretty fast. I kind of got accustomed to shooting at a good pace when I was doing TV, and now movies kind of shoot in the same way. You just kind of go and go. So I'm really used to the pace. But at the end of the day, it's I think it's more time spent with the character. Whereas Frank Delfino, I spent 6 years playing. Whereas, in High Ground, I developed the film, so I was very close to Jake Wilcott. I had been working with the script and with that character for a long time, which is not usual. I just started producing this last couple of years, but I only spent 5 weeks playing Jake. And now he's just a guy in a movie that I remember fondly.
Right.
Whereas with TV, you're somebody for a long time. That's the biggest difference for me.
So again, how to get away with murder? That was another big one you were on. So again,
Huge.
another yeah. So talk about being like Viola Davis. I mean, oh my gosh, it's like wow. It's like were you just kind of like like this is it? I'm like this is big
Yeah,
time.
I just that was yeah, it really was that feeling of like, wow, okay, let's do this now. Like
Uh-huh.
this is okay, let's go, let's go. But yeah, Sean Rhimes exec producing, and I got the call that I'd gotten the part, and everyone was on the phone, and you've got your manager, your agent, and everybody's on talking, they're congratulating you. And then very much in passing, my manager said, and I think they closed Viola's deal today. And I didn't think much of it. I was, thinking about my thing, and I got off the phone, and I was like, "Oh my God, I think he meant Viola Davis."
Right.
And I didn't even know that I didn't know anyone they were talking to for Annalise.
Right.
And I was just like, "Oh, this is going to be a thing," and it was an incredible experience, and she's amazing.
Well, that's cool. Now, of course, I do an action cinema website, so of course I have to talk
Yeah,
about your action movies. You, sir,
let's
are
do it.
becoming you're becoming an action star, whether it was by design or by accident. You are. I consider like I call you an action star when I write about you. And like
I
I
really
just post.
appreciate that.
Actually, I just posted your. I'm sorry I'm late to the party with High Ground, but like I just posted the trailer on my website today.
Great,
And of course I'll do. I just watched it, so I'm going to be doing the review later on. But let's
great,
talk like I saw you in Buffy, of course, but then
sure.
you really resonated with me with Jarhead the Siege, which was
Yes,
one of my favorite action movies. Again, William Kaufman directed it. I have interviewed him several times.
I'll bet.
So I love the movie, but it was funny because of course Scott Adkins was in it. Of course, I interviewed him a bunch of times. He's a great guy. But I tell
Great
you
guy.
what, he dies halfway through it. I was like, oh, I was like,
Yeah,
and I'm like, who's Charlie Weber? And I'm like,
yeah.
and it was funny because all my guys in my clique, action sim cliques, they're like, but they were like, and then you took over, and it was like, oh, okay, like this is good, this is fine. So you, sir, are probably one of the only actors to take the mantle from an action star who gets killed and takes the ball and runs
Well,
with
well,
it.
Scott is very much an action star,
Right.
for sure. And he and Will have worked together and are friends. And he was kind of coming in. He was making a turn, just kind of really out of the stunt world into full time just acting. He's a very talented actor on top
Yeah.
of everything, and I think he did that role. It was an opportunity for him to kind of flex that muscle as opposed to what he's traditionally known for.
Right.
And we were thrilled to have him, and he was really cool to work with. But yes, that kind of threw a lot of people, I'm sure.
So let's talk about the making of it. So again, like I consider like I because of course I interviewed William for the movie when it came out, and it's a 90-minute gunfight. So
Yeah,
talk
oh
about
yeah, oh my
yeah,
god.
talk about like did you do a lot of extensive training? Did you have a lot of like technical advisors? Making sure because again that's the biggest thing like with military movies. It's like especially when military people watch it, their biggest pet peeve of course is when like they're wearing the wrong suits or uniforms or like this is not done right, that type of stuff.
I was just training with some guys the other day who are former military, and they were asking me about movie. It was my first time working with them, and just on my own time,
Right.
uh, just because I enjoy that. And they were asking me about these movies, and that what you just said. My whole goal is like, one of the guys was a former Ranger, the other guy worked with SEALs, and I was like, I'm never gonna move like you. I'm never gonna
Right.
be as good as you. But it's my job for someone like you to watch this movie and know that I did my absolute best to honor what it is that you all do. And so that's
Absolutely.
my goal. I go in to be perfect, and I get as close as I can. But my goal is to have somebody who has served look at that performance and look at what I'm doing and how I'm moving, and know that I really put a lot into it.
So that was on of course it was on location. So talk about some of the rigors of filming that movie in terms because it's such a physical
That
movie.
movie in particular is brutal.
Yeah,
I mean, they put me through it. I'm in every scene of that movie,
yeah,
and there were days that were just unbelievably cold. And like you said, it's a gunfight, so you've got to rifle up just all day. And there are more stairs in that movie than I've probably walked up in my entire life because we shot this.
right.
It takes place in a consulate, as you know,
And
and
not
we're
only
just
stairs, but you have all that crap on
full
you.
gear, full
Yeah,
gear. And I'm one of those guys that needs the real stuff, and so I
it's
got
120 degrees outside, no
yeah.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a blast to make, but I was pretty beat up after that one.
Okay, so let's talk about Panama now. Oh my God, like Mel
Yeah,
Gibson, like Cole Hauser, who I'm another favorite. I love him
I'm
too.
a huge fan. When that came my way, I've wanted to work with Cole since I started acting. I just love his work. I think he's an incredible actor. He's just got the coolest screen presence, and I just always wanted to work with him, and I got the opportunity in Panama.
How now? Like I hope you guys work together again because I picture you
I'd
guys
love to. Yeah.
as like brothers, like like an
Yeah,
action
I
movie where
stepped
you
out of
guys
my
are just
normal role for that one, and I played the. I really enjoyed being in that movie. I would have taken any role to work with
right,
those guys.
right.
But I would love to step back in there with Cole in a more action packed version of what I do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, last movie I'm going to talk to you before we get to High Ground, and I promise you we're going to get to High Ground.
No, no,
The
please.
the Painter. You
Mm.
sir, you created or you were in one of my. You made it onto my top favorite films of 2024 with The Painter.
Wow, I'm flattered
Listen,
by that.
And here's the thing, because like I wasn't again with High Ground, I wasn't, because I do what I can. I'm a solo act, so like what I get is from PR people or just combing the websites and stuff like that. So that came out of nowhere for me. I remember just going on Fandango at home, which was Voodoo at the time, and
Uh-huh.
I was like, what is this? And then I'm like, it stars you, and I was like, okay. Then I watched the trailer. I was like, okay. So I bought it right away. It was a blind buy for me, and I watched it. I was like, this movie kicks ass. And like, and again, a great character. And it's funny because like there's this plot going on in action cinemas where like guys like former badass
Yeah.
operators, or the beekeeper, the painter, the
We really
construction
hit you
worker.
with it last year. The
Yeah.
bricklayer, the beekeeper, the painter. We us blue collar former special ops guys. We're really coming out of retirement last
It
year.
makes you look like it. Like I'm walking down the street, I'll see constructors. I'm like, how many of these guys are badass ex
Yeah.
former operators? So let's talk about the painter real quick.
Oh, I'd
Again,
love
another
to.
great. Oh, I would love to see this character. Hopefully, like you get to like play him again because such a great character and such a great universe that you created with it.
I'm actively working on that. That we've been dancing around it. My schedule's been crazy, as is everybody's. But I am so proud of that movie. We all worked so hard on that, and it was a blast. Talk about being beat up. I was back to my hotel room with a Epsom salt bath and a glass of bourbon every night. I was just beat up, but it was worth it. We had so much fun, and yeah, the all those sequences. Dan Rizzuto is such an incredible stunt coordinator, and he came up with all those incredible sequences that we worked really hard on.
So let's talk about the action in this movie because this is different action from what you did in the Siege. This is
Hmm.
like, and I don't want to call it John Wick because everybody calls it like because once John Wick came out, now it's like you know what they've been doing gun fu and stuff way before John Wick.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah, we've
it's
been
not
doing
like
it a long
John
time.
Wick.
But
It's
John,
not like
but
yeah,
I don't mind the comparison because John
right.
Wick really put movies like this on the map and really got people excited about this kind of action. And it's so fun to make and so challenging that it's really cool that something that high profile really put this kind of movie on the map.
And just talk about the core because like the one scene like in the finale, like where you got the guy and you're like blocking and the gun's going off as it's going around
Yeah.
you, and then you're starting to take shots. I mean, I was just like, I'm in my comfort zone. This is my
Oh,
comfort food
it's
right here.
and mine too. Again, Dan Rizzuto and the team, and we just all worked so hard to. Oh, I love all those sequences, and they were really challenging. We tried, and we really tried to have the longest takes we could use, to kind of
Yes.
show the sequences in real time.
And that's what I love. Like, because again, it's like the fast editing, the choppiness. I get it. It's there for a reason at some points, but nothing beats when the camera's back and it's you. And it's you. It's not a
Oh, it's
stuntman.
it's me.
You
It's
are,
me.
yes. And that's why when you put the work in, sir, that's when you get mad respect from people like me because it's like, yep, that's the man. He's doing it. And it's not some guy that,
And
has
that's
a
why I do it. And when stunt guys, to gain the respect of the stunt guys is another talk about having a goal when you do movies like this. When it's gunplay, I always want guys who have served or in part of that world to hopefully respect the time I put in. And then with the fighting, when other guys see that are in the fight world see us doing that and they know how hard we work to put those together, it always means a lot.
right. And I get it. Like, and again, if there's a stunt like where you got to jump off a huge building, like obviously they're going to be like, okay,
I got my guy for that. Yeah, I'll be in my chair.
absolutely, absolutely. Like,
Yeah, I like to fight,
and
but I don't like to fall.
And I was like, yeah, you did great, sir. Thank you for making
Thank you.
me
I
look
really
good. I
appreciate that.
think, right. All right. So let's get into High Ground now. Again, Jon Voight was in The Painter and he's in this
Yes.
movie
Yes,
too.
he is.
Was
Yeah.
that by design?
It in a sense,
Okay.
no. We were talking about we were having meetings about who was going to play my dad, and other names were coming up, and we're kind of going through it. And the producer Stephen Paul was having dinner with John, and they were just discussing. John was asking what they were up to. He told him about High Ground. And he said, "Oh, and Charlie's playing the lead." And John kind of perked up because we had a really good time on the Painter. Really got
Awesome.
along. Really,
Yeah.
really, really, really respect each other as actors and performers. And um, he said, "Well, I'll do it." And he said, and we were just like, "Great,
It's like,
great,
yes. Now,
problem solved." And so John came in; it was incredible, and our dynamic, and we had that shorthand because we worked together, so it was a perfect. We play father and son pretty well.
and I got that too. Like, because obviously, because you worked with him on The Painter. So, like, there was that chemistry that's, and especially now,
Yeah.
because you're I mean, you had a tight relationship in the. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who
Oh,
hasn't
it's
seen
yeah,
it
yeah.
later, but like this is,
It's a
you're
similar dynamic, same but different, same but different.
after it. All right, so let's talk about High Ground again, sir. You got me again. I wasn't like really. This wasn't on my radar, and I don't know why I get mad when movies kind of like I'm like, damn it. I'm like, how did this get past me? Type of thing.
Yeah,
But then again, your guys contacted me, and I was like, oh, I was like, okay. And of course, I watched the trailer. I was like, all right, I'm sold. And so let's talk about the development of this project. Of course,
great.
it's your first real foray into producing, so I'm going to talk to you
Yes.
about wearing many hats on a film set. So let's talk about how it came about.
I wanted to produce something and move into that phase of my career. I have a little more time. My daughter's in college, so I have a little more time on my hands than I used to.
Mine's
And
going
so,
into college, so I'm
yeah,
right there.
it just happens so fast.
I know.
But she's doing great, and that makes me so happy. But it leaves me with a lot of free time, more so than I used to have.
Mm-hmm.
And John Thaddeus, who wrote the script, High Ground, is a friend of mine. We were going to do a movie together years ago, but my schedule didn't work out, and I've always felt bad about that because I really wanted to work with him. And I sifted through some of his scripts because he's constantly writing. High Ground was in there. I read it. It was quite different at the time, but I knew there was a great movie in there, and so I got together with him, developed it, and really wanted to streamline it because what I could see in it and what it is, and it really worked. Which is I'm so proud of this movie for and the actors that brought this
Mm.
thing together. I wanted it to feel like a modern day Western, and that was the
Yeah. Okay.
feel. Good versus evil with a showdown, and just and it's fast. It takes off. The time the whole movie takes place over about 24 hours, and just an incident that turns into a showdown. And spent a few months working on that. Was able to bring in the guys from over at Paramount to help me make it, and it was a really incredible experience. And I just fell in love with producing. So now I'm either acting or developing a movie every day you see me.
And you just said it. I was going to ask you about that because again, that's what I loved about it. It's like that neo modern Western thing going on. So
Yes, yes.
instead of horses, there's cars. Obviously
Of course,
because it's a
yeah,
yeah.
100%.
But other than that, I mean, you even wear a hat. I mean, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
it's like, and I love that because it's like so many like westerns that the genre today kind of it's saturated with a lot of, eh. But it's
yeah.
like if so. It's great to see that even though this is a modern take on a western, that you really took the time to take care of it and say, you know what, I'm not just going to do this and do it half-ass. I'm going to make sure that this is
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what people want to see.
Well, horses versus car. I knew the formula would work in a modern setting, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy that it did.
Now talk about Jake Wilcott. So again, your character now developing him, of course, again, you and again back in the day, it's great because you could substitute icons like Clint Eastwood into the role,
Sure.
and stuff like that. So yeah, talk about him as a character.
Well, Jake, but he does, there is that in the world of that, he's a very stoic man. He's been through a lot. That character is based on John Thaddeus' son, who served as an Army Ranger, and
Oh, okay.
I wanted to obviously respect that and take great care with that. And he's a man who's been through a lot. He comes back to this town, and after what he's been through, he just kind of wants to get by. He just wants to not really have much responsibility. So when he takes the reins of sheriff from his father after he retires, he's not sure that he's ready for that sense of responsibility. And it's about him kind of coming into his own and realizing that that's just what he was born to be, that he's a leader and somebody that can take care of things.
Now talk about again. We talked a little bit about Jon Voight, but now you got Katherine McNamara. She, in her own rights, becoming an action star. She was in Air Force
Oh,
One Down.
absolutely. She's so
Another
good.
another movie that sneaked past me. She's phenomenal in that movie. I was like, oh my god, she's kicking so much ass at this
She
movie.
can, yeah.
So talk about the spunk that she brought to the set. In terms of her.
Oh, incredible. And
Yeah.
again, she did that movie with James Bamford, who's an
Yes.
incredible director
Yes.
who directed this, obviously, and I
Yes.
love working with. And when it comes to action and especially stunts and fighting, there's none better. So they'd work together. We were lucky to have her, and she brought a great energy. She was game. She was ready to go. She's great with all the action stuff. And it was just and we needed that. I mean, we made the movie. We would go hard. We were shooting nights. It was cold. We needed all hands on deck and everybody to be game, and she was.
And then you got Elliot.
Oh
Oh
my
gosh.
gosh.
Now,
When they told me
I got,
Henry
did
Thomas was
anybody,
coming
they,
on, I was like, you've got this thing got so good so
yeah.
fast.
Now,
Uh,
Henry Thomas, we all know, like, of course, like, I feel bad for the guy because I mean, it's a great role and it's an iconic role, but I'm sure people call him Elliot to this day.
they
It's like,
do, they do. You know, I mean, he obviously people want to talk about that, but
does he embrace it? He's like,
he embraces it.
yeah,
He loves that was part of his life. He's got a great sense of humor about it, but also appreciates it. He's got
yeah.
it's a great balance of you know, he's Elliot. He's Elliot.
And he's done many roles since then. Now that you know, obviously he's older now,
He's
and
in
this
some
is like,
incredible movies.
yeah. So this is a total like you know, like you watch them as a kid, and then in this role, it's like it's night and day, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. This was a different kind of role for him. He was great.
Yeah.
But again, great on set. It was a bunch of actors who love to do what they do, and we just played and had a blast.
Now talk about of course we talked about producing. Now you're starting to get into that realm. So talk
Yeah.
about before, like you know, you're an actor, like you said, you're just not like you said with this movie, like this is me on in the movie, you know, it's stuff.
Mhm.
But talk about now. I'm not just acting, but I got to do all this other stuff, you know, behind the scenes as well.
I really took to it. I loved it. I got really good at just changing those hats pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it's easier than you might think because
Okay.
by the time you're on set, you've developed this script for who knows how long, and it's just you know it so cold. You know everything about it. You've seen the movie in your head 1,000 times before you've shot one frame. So it's actually pretty seamless, and I really enjoy just being on set all the time, helping with anything that I can, trying to finesse things, trying to just do whatever I can to make this thing run smooth. And at the end of the day, have the best movie you can possibly make. So I loved it.
Now, was it cool? Like because like you obviously had more say now because you're a producer. So
Yeah, that was kind of
was that kind of cool? Like because I'm sure you're on some productions you're kind of like yeah I don't agree with this,
every
but
production.
okay yeah
Every
so,
production, you know,
yeah
and I think the difference is, and I'm a very kind person. I approach things in
yes
a very calm way, but it takes a little bit. You don't have to kind of sugarcoat anything anymore. You know, if I were, because now you are the guy. So if it's like, you know, if I were doing this, what I would do. And so instead of having to go down that route and try to convince people, you just be like, hey, why don't we try this? And it just kind of speeds up the process.
right now I'll a few more questions. I know you're a busy man, so I'll let you go here
No,
pretty
no,
soon.
please.
So let's again. I got to talk again. I want a action website, so I got to talk about the action in this movie, which again
Sure.
is like I said, and I've been watching.
Talk about a gunfight. Yeah.
I'm 52, so I've been watching action movies since I was like 6. So it's
Trust
like
me, I'm sure we got a list of the same favorites.
so yeah, so it's like it takes a lot to like be like, all right, you know, and I the here's the most biggest compliment I could give you. The biggest compliment I could give you is when I watch an action movie, I want to watch it again. Like I want to return to it. And you, sir, with those movies and this one now, I'm going to return to these movies because again, with High Ground, such a great atmosphere and the action is like, I mean, you had different like it's hard to explain, and I don't want to give a lot away because it hasn't come out yet. But like some of the slow mo, and then you got some of the way the guns are fired and stuff like that. So some really cool stuff going on.
Very cool. Yeah, James had some really good ideas on
Yeah,
how, because there's so much gunplay in the movie. I think it was really cool that
right.
he was able to shape it in different ways and give you different feelings at different points of the movie. But yeah, yeah, it's a lot of action, a lot of gunplay in this one.
Now James Bamford, of course, we've mentioned him too. He directed the movie. Now, of course, he's one of he's in this tradition now of former stunt professionals turning filmmaker, and
Yeah,
I love the trend because these guys like are because so many times directors directed action movies that didn't know what they were doing, and then
right.
it's like now these guys are like we exactly like you got Jesse Johnson. You got William Kaufman that we talked about. Sam Hargrave, who's done the
Mhm.
extraction movies, now James Bamford. So talk about these guys coming from the stunt world and knowing like, hey, this is how you do action on screen.
It's again such a natural progression because these guys are a lot of times, if not, they're more or less, if not literally directing the stunts when they work on a show or a movie. They kind of step into the director chair and make sure they're doing that. So they're already directing.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're just taking the helm of the story as well. And it's working out great for a lot of guys. But again, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a great trend because like now you know, James, there's a little fight sequence in there that he was tweaking personally throughout the course of it. And when you know he knows what looks right every frame, and we know what to do. He knows if it's working, and again especially with an action movie. I think
Hmm.
it's that's who you need a lot of the times.
So real quick, I just want to go back to the cast because I forgot to mention James Alvar Wheatley, who's the antagonist in your movie.
So good.
And again, the good guy's always only as good as the bad guy, and this guy brings he brings it. He's ruthless. He's like,
He
you
was
know what?
perfect. And
Yes,
again, with the genre I was trying to create, I wanted, I a truly good guy and a truly bad guy.
yes,
And just to really just know two ways about it. Here's the good guy and here's the bad guy.
yin
Here
and
we go.
yang.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And
So
he was
that
perfect.
absolutely. Oh my God, he was so good. And you guys had such great, like, like the heat on the screen, like when you
That's
guys
the irony of filmmaking. We're adversaries. We've become actually very good friends.
That's the funny thing too. It's like you watch this stuff and you see you on the screen, but then it's like, it's like Billy Drago. I don't know if you know him from the 80s and the 90s. He was such the worst person on screen, but yet the nicest guy. But it's so funny to see these
Yeah.
guys play these bad and you played not
Oh,
so
I've played
wonderful.
plenty of it. Oh,
Yeah.
I've played
Yes.
villains,
Yeah.
and and playing villains is fun. I
And
love.
actually, I haven't checked out. You were in hang on a second. I'm gonna what's it called? You played Dimitri in a movie
Oh, it's
called
Snatch. Yeah.
Yes, I have not seen that one yet. I'm so sorry.
And
I was
again,
like, yeah,
opposite role, just straight villain.
yes. It's like again, all these, but and that brings me to one of my last questions. It's like with the market nowadays, I think streaming. How do you get your movie? Like how what's your thought process on getting your movie noticed with all these other? Because not only do you have theatrical, now you have streaming, you have all this, saturation.
It's a lot. You do your best. I think the first thing, and what is also happening now that I'm producing, I'm having these conversations. Quality slipped for a while because there was so
Yeah.
much content and there was a need for content, so people were just sort of throwing movies together. I don't throw movies together. I make the
Hmm.
best movie possible. So we create an incredible product, we make a great movie, and then you market it to the best of your ability through a PR team or your own personal socials, and you just get the word out the best you can. And if you've made a good movie, people will talk about it, people will tell people about it, and word of mouth is still a very big deal.
And that's what I love like my website because like I again Disney doesn't need me. I mean I still promote the movies and stuff, but they don't
Right,
need they don't need me
right.
promoting their movies. But it's like guys like it's like the indie market, like the smaller movies and stuff like that. That's where I really champion because it's like
No,
getting the word out.
and then and you and I doing this is a huge deal. This is a huge thing for the movie, for this to get out in the world and people hear about it and get excited about it.
Yeah, and that's this thing. I get like when he said he's like Charlie would love to talk to you. I'm like he would. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. I'm like, and then I get all excited because I'm like, this is the guy that I've watched in the Siege, and then this is the guy that I just saw in the Painter. It's like now we're
Yeah.
having a chat. This is so awesome. Last question: directing. Is it in your future? Do you want it to be in your future?
It does no.
Okay,
I know that seems like a quick
fair enough.
answer.
Yeah,
I love directors. I love working with directors. But for me, it just seems like people either it's one of those things you either really want to do it or you really don't. And I have so much respect for directors.
that's
It
okay.
seems so thankless to me. You're taking shit from everybody.
Right,
The actors for sure.
right.
But like no, it takes a different kind of like but for me, producing, developing and then watching this come to life and kind of facilitating that coming alive, that's what I like.
Well, that's an honest answer, and I think
Yeah.
that normally they're like, oh yeah, sure, and it's like you're like, no, I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna produce.
yeah. I do. And look, talk to me in 10. If I reverse myself on this, I will come back on your show and apologize. But but for now, no, that's not on the radar.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything you can talk about future wise? I know a lot of times you guys are tight lipped about stuff, but I mean, you're going to obviously film something, but I don't know. Is there anything you
Yeah,
can?
no, they've announced it. I'm off to film just a thriller called Higher Stakes. I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. I'm just acting in this one, so I just the
Oh,
one hat.
damn it.
As soon as the day ends, I get to go back to my room and do whatever I want.
Well, I'm sure
But
pleased with that. You don't have to get bruised. It's like you're
yeah,
not going to beat up and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
And then, but I am developing a movie called Bad Blood right now. That we're
Ooh.
the script is pretty much done. Again, you see my kind of flick, just a cool thriller, some action, but a very cool crime drama with a nice dose of action that we're working on now. That we're putting together the cast. We're really excited about it. So hopefully that'll be something we can get done. Hopefully this year, depending on everybody's schedule.
Well, and again, like I said, I mean, I mean, I'll watch you in anything. Like I said, I mean, it doesn't have to. It doesn't
Well,
have
when
to
I
have.
get this, once I'm done with that one, I'll come back on and we'll talk about it. We'll get you a
That's
screen.
that is so awesome with you, sir. Because I would like to pick your brain, and I do something. Actually, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but I do something on my show called Anatomy of Action Design. I would like you to come on because I get filmmakers and action stars to come on and talk about certain action sequences they were involved in.
Sure.
I would love you to come on and like pick apart some of the stuff that you did in the Painter and the Siege, and even with
Oh,
this
happy
movie and
to.
stuff. Oh, that would be so awesome, sir. Thank you. I
Happy.
can't believe it. I'm so happy to talk to you. I'm so happy that I'm going to talk to you in the future.
Absolutely.
Continued success. I
Thank
enjoy
you.
everything that you do. And like I said, whether it was by accident or by design, you sir are an action star. So embrace it. I mean, you're a producer, you're a filmmaker.
That
Let's just
no,
say
but that moniker of action star means a lot to me from you, and I really really appreciate it.
and that's the thing too. And again, I swear I'll let you go here in a minute. But like back in the day with Schwarzenegger and Stallone, it's like guys don't have. And now I'm not saying you're not in shape, but you don't have to look like you were chiseled out of marble to make
No,
action movies. And a
no,
lot of
no.
times, Navy SEALs don't look like that. They look
They're
like
very
us.
non-assuming guys. They're very
Yes.
non-assuming guys. It's a really cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thank you so much. Good luck with the film that you're be safe because you're
Oh,
traveling.
thank you. Appreciate that.
And then I look forward to seeing it. And I look forward to having you come on again and chatting in the future, Charlie. Thank you so much for coming on. Again, High
Thank you for the
Ground comes
time.
out March 18th on digital. I've already pre-ordered it because I got to see it early, which was super cool. My
Thank you
review will
for
come
that.
out. I will send my review to the people that contact me, so hopefully you can
Great.
see it
Can't
and
wait to see
everything.
it.
I'm going to do a special video one for you, so I'm going to talk
I
about it on that
appreciate
podcast.
that.
All right. So continue success, Charlie,
I'll talk
and
to you
good luck.
soon.
All
All
right. Bye
right.
bye.